Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Quick question.
Turn on
You better have a joke at class.
There'll be a joke at next class, unless you guys disappoint me again.
I have a quick
Feel
question.
better by stopping to him.
Okay. Yeah, just hold on a second till everybody's kind of off, and then we'll get to the questions. I'll stick around.
All right.
Who is this, by the way, so I know who to look for?
Ryan Karch.
Okay, sure.
So because of the no class on Monday because of the holiday, is CS doing the same thing as like physics and calc where we deferred instead of doing one on Tuesday, so everybody's caught up, we just switched to Thursday only?
I'm not understanding the question. There's no class on Monday. Monday is a real Monday this time, so there's no lecture until Thursday. Yeah, is that what the question is?
Oh, it's a Tuesday on Tuesday now. They didn't switch Monday to Tuesday?
No. Yeah, not every holiday. So what happens is by the way our curriculum goes, we have to have an equal number of Mondays and Tuesdays off.
Oh, gotcha. So they alternate kind of, or they make sure they're even. Okay.
Yeah, at least plus or minus one, you know.
Yeah.
So this Monday is a real Monday. Okay?
All right. Yep.
You do have lab though. Tuesday's a real Tuesday, so we have labs.
Yes, we do have lab. All right.
Okay?
Yep. All right. Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you. Same to you.
Oh,
Okay.
Professor.
Yep.
I just have a very short question. So, like, what is the deadline for like making up the lab 00?
Well, it should be made up, right? I mean, when did you start the class?
Oh well, I start like the second week. Like the end of the second week of the semester.
So, hopefully you're made up. Hopefully you've done the lab. I mean, because that's really important for you to be.
Yeah, I done the lab, but
Okay.
like when should I made up with my TA?
Like
So
3
what
weeks
is
ago.
the deadline?
Since you were late transfer to the class, we'll give you a break. Go talk to your TA and show it to him, and when he signs off on it, have him send us an email, and we will give you an excused absence for it.
Yeah, like
But
I'm just
do it
worried.
as soon as possible. Like do it this.
Yeah,
week.
I'm trying because I forgot like today's lab. Well, today or yesterday's lab time because like. Okay, thanks. I will
Okay.
talk to him.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Hi.
Professor, I have a question.
Sure.
So I did go beyond the 90-minute period of time, knowing full well that I would get a deduction. I just want to know what that deduction was on the exam. If you could tell me.
We're not going to talk about the exam anymore until after.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. Next.
It's fine.
Yeah. Thanks.
Oh, wait. So we're not talking about the exam, right? Like at all?
Nope.
Okay.
We still have people that have to take it, and we have emails that are going out, and there's not really anything to talk about until all that's handled.
That's good.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Hello, Professor. I was wondering if I could ask you a question.
Sure.
So I was just wondering if you could kind of explain the part of Lecture 11 that's like program organization.
Yeah,
I know
sure.
how to use I know how to use modules and import them, but I'm having a bit of trouble understanding what the if underscore name underscore equal.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, it's sort of that function that it does.
So it's a really cool thing that Python does. Well, at least I think it's kind of cool. Python isn't a compiled language, so this stuff can't be handled at compile time. It has to be handled at runtime. So if we're in the module, right? So we're in this module now, and I'm going to debug this. Same thing happens when you run. If you debug, as soon as we step into the module, we can look at the variable name. It's underscore name. You'll find out that underscore something underscore is Python's way of saying this is an important this is a Python, it's probably a Python built in or some, something that has some meaning in Python. It doesn't mean you can't make up your own things that look that way, but try to avoid that unless you're dealing with something where it makes sense. So if we look at that, we see that the value of name is the string __ main. Okay? So when we're running our file and we're stepping through, right, we hit this add to, we just process that like any other def, right? We make a note and step over. We see the howdy, we print the howdy. And now we've hit this guard, right? And this is just an if statement, and it's an if statement that contains the rest of the file. Well, when we come in here, you ask yourself, name obviously equals main, right? Because that's what it is here. So we can just step on through this and we'll just execute the rest of the code. Okay, so when you're running from a file that has no impact whatsoever. Okay, and the same, like I said, the same thing will happen. In fact, we can just come in here and do print. Instead of printing howdy, we'll print howdy, comma. There, so we, so the key is we can run this, and when we come in, when we're in the file or when we're executing the file, right? This holds when we're outside. What did I call this? Oh, Lecture11 module, right? So this holds whenever we run, from within the debugger, or even if we come down here and say Python Lecture11 module, right? We print out howdy, and then we print out the value of main, and the value of name, and the value of name is __ main. Right, so anytime we execute this file directly, name is set to be the value main. When we import it, though, it's not the same. Right, so when we import it, and let's... Am I running the debugger? No, okay. Let's debug this one, right? When we import it... Right, we'll step down here. Let me start over again. There, now we're in there. What is it? Oh, okay. What are you doing to me? Okay. Now it finally stopped. So now you see we're right at the import, right? And the next step on the import is going to, so if we do our continuation, is it's going to import Lecture11 module. So now it comes in here and it's actually going to read the file Lecture11 module and execute the file. Whenever you do an import, that's actually what's happening. But when we execute a def, right, we don't actually execute the def. We just make note that we've defined a module. And now we're going to hit this print, and we're going to print out the value of name and howdy. And what we find out is that this time it's not equal to __ main. It's actually equal to the name of the module. So that means when we come down here and hit this if statement, we're going to skip all of this other stuff. We're now done. And we've accomplished our main goal, which was just to define this add to function that we can call from our main. Right, so we come back here and we can do a continuation. Right, we've now printed out our howdy. We've printed out Lecture11 module. We've printed out the result of calling add to with 5 and 7. Right, that's the function that was defined in here. And now we can finish up with printing the end. So what this does is it gives us a place to put code that we want to execute when we're running this file directly, but that we don't want to execute when we're importing it as as part of another file. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, but just also to clarify, the name is going to be main only if you run it from that, like that.
Yep. Right. So when we ran, right, when we directly ran Lecture 11 module, it came up main, right? And we can do 34. I don't know. Apparently, I may actually have a infinite loop in here. Yes, I did. I left that in. Oh, well, that's life. Let's get back. Okay. So when we execute this, right, directly, we're equal to main. We do our execution. We print out, we execute all of this loop, and we finish up. When I run the other part, right, if we look at Lecture 11 main, right, we're going to import that module, and we can run Lecture 11 main as well. Right, and it doesn't execute the body of the loop, right? It doesn't ask us for any numbers and do anything. It just imports it, prints out, right? That the print line is outside of the guard, so it prints out that and the value of name, which is now Lecture 11 module, and then skips the rest of this file. Okay, does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I understand it now. Thank you so much, Professor.
Awesome. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I'll hit flush again, I think. Are any of you the people who asked what flush was? We've hit that a couple of times. Every time we've been talking about debugging in print, I've managed that flush equals. I've told you that flush equals true. A normal write, a normal print in Python prints to a buffer. Flush equals true says flush the buffer, and I'll try to find an example to show what that does. Hopefully in the next class, but I'm starting to pack a lot of stuff into the next class. Next question. Do we have any more questions?
Mine wasn't a question. Mine was more like clarification for homework on part 2.
Sure. Yeah. Go ahead, ask. I mean, I can't look at your code right now, but if it's just a question, I can do that.
While I was trying, where is the code? Okay, so after I did my inputs and asked the user for the values that I needed, I programmed a while statement, and then a TA told me that I would need a function to tell Spider its movements. And I was trying to do that, but then when I was looking at it, it looked like I put what was supposed to go into the function movements in the while.
Okay.
In the while loop, and I didn't know how to fix that.
Okay, so that's actually pretty okay. You do need to have a function because what we're trying to teach you on this particular example is how to use functions. So we do need you to use a function, but that's okay. So let's just look at this for a second. So we have, you're doing something like x plus equals 1, y plus equals 1, 2. I don't know, whatever you're doing to move your Pokemon, right? These can be different values. Right? So basically you're maintaining where your Pokemon is and you're moving them along based on input north, south, east, and west. Right? You're doing something like input something along these lines. And it may be a whole big long block of stuff that you have to do. And you got that all embedded in your while loop, right? So let me pull up the homework so I'm actually looking at it to make sure I'm giving you good information. Okay. So you have a function. So we want you to define a function, move Pokemon, right? So that's pretty easy, right? Def move. You need to use the full name when you do it, but I'm gonna cheat. And you would just take whatever code you had down here. Right? And you would move that into the body of the function. Right? So this is the code that was there. And then you figure out what it is you want to return. Return, new row. Maybe something like that. I don't know. And then you would figure out what your parameters are. Like I think this was a tuple, coordinates or something. Direction. And steps, right? So you want to look at what we tell you here, right? And make a function definition that fits that, right? Remember that coordinates is a tuple, right? This is a tuple. A direction and a number of steps, right? So we have that direction and a number of steps. You take whatever code you were doing down here and you pull it up here, and then it says to return so it returns a tuple. So now you would say something down here. You would say, instead of having all this code, you'd kill that code, the code that did what you wanted to do, right? And you replace it with a call to, x, y equals, move with whatever, with the correct parameters based on how you have it set up. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, anybody else? All right. If nobody else, I'm going to thank Kristen for handling most of the questions and passing them on to me. And I'm going to stop recording and cut off this particular lecture. Thanks, guys.